a glance at it. I'm not lying. It's really easy. Kitchen farming, aquaponing inside your house. It's really easy. I don't really need to. Après le MOOCs. Let's try to watch it. Learning with the MOOCs. Connaissez-vous le MOOC? Les cours en ligne dispensés par l'université ouverts à tous sont sur le point de bouleverser l'enseignement. Décryptage de phénomènes en pleine expansion. Do you recognize what MOOCs is? This course online dispensed and used by the universities and opened up all the material to everyone are actually, on the search and the verge of traversing every sector in teaching industry. Please decipher this phenomenal event in full expansion by getting into the very bottom of it. In this way, I don't really need to, hem and hoe, or I don't really need to provide unnecessary, filthy, herky-jerky explanations unless there is a pressure for me to go deeper into the substance. If there is any type of schematic implicated or implied knowledge, technically implicated is not right. Implicated normally actually signifies a certain criminal activity. So if there is any type of implied meaning there, then I can easily actually say that this would have never been difficult at all. Let me actually show you. The Wunderlamp of the Wonder Lamp. Lamp. You know that, magical lamp here. Do you need to actually see? I don't really need to. Es ist vielleicht nicht ein aller dieser Wunderlampe, aber fast. Diesmal erzählte die Geschichte von Anna Makrosinski, einer jungen Kanadierin mit philippinischen Wurzeln. Die 50-Jährige hat eine durch Körperwärme betriebene Taschenlampe erfunden. Ihr Ziel liegt für Schüler in Entwicklungsländern, die zu Hause keinen Strom haben. This is not, Aladdin's Wonder Lamp. You can actually, rub it and create, wondrous demonstration of your ideas or wishes fulfillment. However, it's really close to it. Future Magazine delivers the story from Anna Makrosinski, this young Canadian lady with a Philippine heritage. She's actually been affected by the heritage of Filipinos because her mother is a Filipino or her father is a Filipino. I don't know. But this 15-year-old already has discovered very innovation which could actually be operated by bodily temperature. This, it's just a pocket lamp. The flashlight. You can actually portably carry a pocket or a flashlight. You can turn it on. This pocket light. It could actually be operated with no battery and no additional connection to the charger, but simply using your body warmth. You had a 98 degrees in Fahrenheit and a 37 degrees in, more specifically, 36.8 degrees in Celsius. As a human being living and breathing, this temperature can be a great fuel to empower your flashlight with no connection to additional charger like power strip or batteries that should be changed. No. Her goal is literally a life for every children as a school attender. Any child who attends a school, every child who attends a school in the developing countries who actually have no connection to the electricity. Each and every child who has no connection. This is really easy. Why would you actually say that I have to think about it? Let me actually see this one. The last sentence. Her goal to provide. No, I don't really need to think about it. To me, let me actually say this one. It's really easy. This is really, don't forget about writing. Writing itself is a really kind of, because I don't really need to think about it. Let me actually say that. This 15-year-old has already actually developed operating flashlight. This could only be in operation without connection to no power strip because your body warmth can actually be a empowering fuel to kindle up this flashlight. Her goal, life for every child in the developing countries who has no connection to the power. No connection. I don't really need to think about it. Let me actually say that that's really the reason. Her goal is literally what? You can actually say that all children, all school children who cannot read their book, but I said every child. It's really easy. Every child who has no connection to power in their houses. The school children. Because they cannot actually do their homework at their house, at their homes. Because they have no connection to electricity. That's really the reason. Let me actually see this. All school children, every child who has no connection to power in their houses. Every child who has no connection to power in their houses. The only reason why I said have was, I said in all children and every child together, so, both of them, then in that case, it would be better off to be said have. That's really the reason. In the first place, I actually divided this into two different pieces by saying that all school children and every child, by saying that if you ever mention these two things as a particular subject, then you have to actually say that these two things, they have no connection to power, then you have to actually use a have. But if you ever actually mention that every child, then it should be has. I never actually made a mistake. I'm not lying. Every child who has no connection to the power. But if you ever decide to mention two things at once, all school children and every child, two things at once as a subject, then it should be like have. That's really the reason why I, in the first place, mentioned two things at once. That's really the main cause why I decide to choose and opt for this have. I'm not lying. Don't get that wrong. It's very easy. I don't really understand it. Why people, if I ever actually try to explain more, then that's a troublesome. Because I've been actually really frustrated how in the first place you would never understand what I truly meant. The only reason I decided to actually, expatiate the meaning would actually be more like your suspicion and skepticism. I've been actually under pressure and I've been already traumatized with this type of unfounded stories spread behind my back by my relatives. Those people should actually, gear themselves up for, lawsuits, because I would have never tolerate this type of, utter miserable ignorance and dismissal of my understanding with no proper founding understanding, or even actually, constantly blaming me for not knowing things in a proper sense despite my, very objective test results that have been submitted. I don't really understand that they have no capacity to understand these stuffs and they already have lied about certain issue. I have already actually mentioned this. If you ever actually mention two things, all school children, every child, both of them are actually chosen as a subject, then this should actually be said, all school children and every child that who have no connection to power. But if you only mention that every child, then it should be every child who has no connection to the power. That's what I actually said, that her goal is to literally provide electricity to kids by actually allowing them to use their, bodily temperature, body power to, kindle up the tiny pocket light. Pocket light is a flashlight, taschenlight, en feu de poche en français. That's really called, No, I have never actually missed it. No, it's so not true. Don't fucking try to actually say that this is really kind of crazy. I have never missed anything. I feel so affected by it. I was so damn good. I really actually say that I was actually torn between these two options. All children, all school children, every child. I don't really need to think about it. Everything is very obvious. Let me actually say this one. My argument was that if you ever actually listen to my words, what if I actually said that? Every child. No, you don't really understand my word. If you ever actually choose every child as the only subject, then I said it has. I said immediately it has. Every child has, Then I actually said, all children, all school children, and every child. I said, have. Together as a subject. Both of them are subject. Both of them are equally subject. All children and every child have, no power in their houses. That's really the reason in the first place, without explaining, I said that all the children who attend school and every child who had no connection in their houses, who would never be supplied with the proper electricity to kindle up the flashlight, which would actually provide a sufficient energy for them to read a book at night, because sometimes these school children should actually propel their power to read something. I'm not lying. Why am I actually repeating this one? Not because I suffer any type of deficiency to be challenged with understanding of this very, very basic fact. It's really kind of damning to make this kind of argument. I don't really understand that. The only reason I decide to say this over and over again is that I just really feel offended if someone actually tried to say something really negative of my understanding behind my side with no background understanding. But I just really wanted to lay down every possible aspect by covering all the bases, trying to plug the hole on every tiny loopholes, right?